So which is more important, the tender or the draft pick? Well, that's that's a really good question, and it might not be a question that can be answered completely and specifically here, and it might be a question that each individual team, general manager and coach, feel a little bit differently about. In fact, it's very, very evident by the way people use their tenders and their drafts that some teams weight one more than the other. Most would say the tenders are more important because the tenders happen before the draft. So many people look at it and say, hey, look, if I get drafted, I'm the first round draft pick, I'm really the 11th pick of this team because they had 10 tenders before me. Well, that's not necessarily true because, first of all, knowing that two are coming from the NAPHL and one's coming from the NA3 league, if you're drafted number one and you're coming from the USHL and you got a whole year of USHL experience, I don't think anybody would expect you to fall underneath those players from those three players from those two respective leagues. So there's a really good chance that the draft picks are actually better players in some cases than the tenders. The tenders are assured. The tenders are already being locked in because they know who they are. They can access those players. You can't really access a player that's currently playing in the USHL and tender him. That's why the draft's used. Now, the other reason the draft is different in this league, and we're going to get into that, is because you're drafting up and you're drafting from below to pull up and players from the top pulling down. It's a different situation than anybody else has as far as their draft situation goes. So we'll get into that in the draft video. So that's our discussion about breaking down the North American Hockey League roster specific to the tender.